we've seen tech layoffs, we've seen government workers layoff, we've seen truck drivers layoff, and now we've reached manufacturing layoffs. Yes, you heard it. The jobs that they want to bring back are now being cut. And there's been an internal memo that's going to make the rounds that says Intel is facing layoffs and could affect more than 10,000 factory workers. This is not office gigs, this isn't VPs, this is factory workers. So there's been coming out now that they're saying like, hey, there's been memos that are circulating and they've been confirmed that Intel will lay off 15 to 20% of its factory workers, memo says. And this is true, they fact checked it, they've confirmed it internally, but Intel hasn't come out yet. And this is not the only manufacturing layoff that is happening. Alabama manufacturing plan to lay off large portions of staff. And we are starting to see that this is a trend that's creeping across all industries. And if you watch my channel, I've always tried to read between the lines and see, hey, what is going on and how can you self-prepare and make sure that, hey, if I do get laid off, I'm not just hit out of the blue and being like, holy smokes, I just got laid off and I didn't know that it was coming. And if you can pick up on industries and watch my videos, you can say, hey, this might be coming to my company, and what do you do now? And now you're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So first of all, you're gonna look at what your competitors are doing. Are your competitors hiring or are they firing? And it might be that your industry in your area is booming and that they're hiring, trying to get people to work, and that's great. Then you probably don't have to be that worried. But if you're looking at your competitors and they're starting to do layoffs, and people start reaching out to you, be like, hey, is your company hiring? That means that, hey, there might be something coming down the pipeline. Only if my product is so much better than my competitors, there might be something coming and I gotta prepare. And so now you did your research and you looked at it. So what exactly do you do? Well, you gotta make sure that, hey, I'm actually using LinkedIn. I'm actually using social media to kind of boost my positive outlook on my industry, on my searchability, on my projects that I've been doing, on all these other things. So you basically use your brand and your company's brand and say, hey, we've achieved this. Hey, I was helping with all this other stuff, to kind of make it so that another employer, when they look at your LinkedIn, and says, oh, this guy is a pretty rock star. Let's give him a chance of interviewing. And then, as I did in my other videos, you don't be afraid that if there's going to be an AI interview, that you're going to be like, oh, there might be an AI. So then you use keywords and you're trying to persuade your resume to the job description. And that AI will then ask you questions and you're trying to answer it in a way. AI will recognize those keywords to get you the job. And so looking at that and these factory workers, it's not just that it's going to be these factory layoffs. There's so many places around that support these factories. Restaurants, catering companies, electricians, service personnel, everything else is going to be impacted. So if there's going to be big layoffs in these areas, that means that there's going to be a lot more unemployed people. When you're looking at Intel and where they have their location, where they have their manufacturing hub, that means that if you're a food truck owner, if you're a bar owner, or if you're just working at one of these places, that means that these people most likely will not come in as regularly as they were before because their paycheck got jeopardized. There'll still be some people because some people just don't care. But most of them will say, hey, let me cut back a little bit on the spending. And I've actually this time I did something that I've never done before. So I actually went to Reddit and said, hey, what do people, true Americans, cut out first when they lose their job? And I've copied a whole Reddit thread into AI and said, point them out and list it to me according to what they're cutting out. And here is the result. And the result was quite surprising to me because I would have kind of rearranged it differently. And if you watch for so long, please like and subscribe. And let me know right now if you would agree with this list. So Americans would, their priority in order of comments and generally aligns as food, get help from pantries and churches. So the first step when people are getting laid off, they're not really going to start cutting back from all these comments. They're going to start going to pantries and churches to kind of make up for the lost income and to get their food and everything else. So groceries is one part where they're cutting back first. Then they're looking at utilities. Pay or help find before the cutoff. So they're looking at, hey, this is what they prioritize. They get their utilities and looking at like, hey, how do I not make sure that internet's going to be cut off, electricity is going to be cut off, and everything else. So then they prioritize housing, mortgage or rent. Then they do their car, maintaining job access, because if you lose your car, I said that in the other video, it's going to be really hard for you to then come out ahead if you don't have a car. Here we go, health insurance, find a job or find aid or job base. So then a lot of people, and this is what gets me about the statistics on the job loss report, is Americans a lot of times they just find something. So they do servers, they do anything else just to kind of ease the pain to get health insurance benefits or something else. So they will work at grocery stores, baristas, coffees, just to say, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna go and do that. Now, what are they gonna do? Unsecured debt, lowest priority unless legal action. So as you see, these are the priorities that they have. And let me know if you prioritize the same thing. And I think that's pretty smart. I would probably prioritize this just like it. I just do car payment on the lowest priority because you can always Uber or ask for rides or kind of do something else. Because depending on what you got, your car might be very, very expensive. And I've seen repo lanes piling up. I've seen creators talking about how they're repoing cars with 100, 200, 300 miles on them because they thought, like, hey, my money that I make during COVID and that money that I'm making now will stop. And all of a sudden you be handed your pink slip and then it's like, okay, I guess I wasn't so smart after all, and I didn't have that much money put aside to keep up the lifestyle, and now I'm in trouble. And the same goes for people that moved during COVID and said, you know what, I'm living off a tech salary and I moved, and you've seen a lot of people move to these Florida places where right by the beach, making great money. And me and Ali would have been one of them. So I'm constantly saying that, hey, if you're remote, don't think that if you're moving out of a big city where salaries are competitive, salaries are high, you move to a place like Lee County, Florida, live on a canal, and as soon as the workday's done, you're gonna go boating, and then they do lay you off, you're gonna be in trouble because they don't have that high paying jobs. So then you're competing with everybody else for these remote jobs. And then you gotta bring the skills. And I'm not telling you not to do it because I don't know how skilled you are. But if you are that skilled, you gotta be a rock star. And you need to be programming with one hand on this computer and the other hand with that computer so you can keep up, because there's some really, really smart people that are willing to come back to the office. They're willing to relocate and they're willing to do all above to just kind of keep up and say, hey, I need a job, right? And this is just what brings me to your skills. You gotta keep up to date on skills. You just gotta keep saying, hey, how do we improve processes? And make sure that, hey, I'm not giving my boss shit. I'm not hating on him. I'm not bad mouthing him behind his back. I'm making him look good. Because if you make your boss look good, then he's less likely to fire you. But if you're an attitude, diversity hire, or anything else like that, and you badmouth him and you come up with crazy stuff, he'll most likely hear it. And then what would anybody do in that place? Trying to get you out. And so these are just a few things that you got to keep in mind when looking at all these layoffs. And now we're looking at all these Redditors have been saying, hey, go to food banks, go to all these other places to try to make ends meet. But as you see, these food banks are huge. And it is just absolutely crazy when you're thinking about all these food banks, and people need to donate their food. So these food banks don't just get food donated. Sometimes they do from grocery stores, but most of it at churches, you go donate, you go do food runs and everything else. And now you're looking at it, oh, everybody's getting laid off. So what do? You, as a consumer, logically, right, you kind of pull back and you're going to donate less because you don't know if you're going to be next. And so if you're smart and you're like, hey, I might be next on the chopping block, you're not going to go out and say, you know what, I'm next on the chopping block, but let me buy a boat. Let me go buy another house. No, you're going to start saying, let me put this off for a little while. Let me put my donations on pause a little bit. And let me make sure that I'm not on the chopping block. And there's been a bunch of people on TikTok been saying, oh, I was about to get this big deal and they pulled back because of financials and everything else, and they were accounting for it. And so just be aware of where the economy is, what the economy in your area is, what you're going to be doing next, your next moves. You've got to plan them now. And this is just crazy to me when people tell me in the comment section, oh, not in my area, not in my area. Then comment below, where's that at? Because I see it everywhere. I see in Las Vegas, they let people go because the casinos aren't making that much money. I've seen people in LA saying it's more cutthroat than ever. I've seen realtors that haven't sold a house in forever. I've seen that, hey, it takes them way longer to make a decision because when house prices go down, you don't want to catch a falling knife. And people's been saying that. And so the same is with car dealerships. I've been seeing people on TikTok saying, hey, it's been super slow right now in this month. And we just can't get the normal volume as we used to. And it's way, way harder because people still have repos. They have outstanding debt. They can't qualify. The bank doesn't do it just to, hey, here you go, just write it up, whatever it is. And then the consumer's just going to be left holding the bag because that in theory sounds great. Oh, you should qualify for every car you want because the bank's going to back it and the bank doesn't want to be buried in these bad car loans. So when lending's tighter, it affects everybody. So now you're like, okay, well, I work for GM Financial and everything else. And they also have to report to shareholders. So if you're GM Financial, Toyota Financial, you can't just go out and write all these bad loans because they will come haunt you down the road. And now we're starting to see like, hey, these bad loans that these people given on GLEs, on G classes, on all these COVID ballers are starting to come back and haunt them. And now what do? Values go down. And if demand isn't high, value's going to go down even more. So you need to protect your assets. You need to protect your money. And you need to make sure that when you do something, you know what you're getting into and make sure that you're not going to get hosed by something that you're like, oh, they already pulled my credit report once. Yeah, I can't do it. No, you've got to make sure that you now get a deal. As I always tell you, nobody is going to have more interest in your personal financial life than you do. So nobody's going to tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that because of this, and that. Every car dealer is going to tell you, yeah, today's the perfect time to buy. Every real estate agent is going to tell you today's the best time to buy. And everybody that's selling something is going to say today's the best time. And it's a limited time offer and it's only valid for another few days. And sometimes that's true, but most of the times it's not. And when you're like, oh my gosh, you're going to make this big purchase, and they say, oh, it's only valid for today, prices are going to go up, unless there's a reason to it, like, hey, we launched something new, or the old pricing isn't available anymore, you can always negotiate and come back and say, hey, you know, is this deal still available? And just because this deal isn't available today doesn't mean that your competitor might not give you even better deal today than you were offered yesterday. So yeah, just words of wisdom, because these are the times where you need to hold on to cash, you need to hold on to your finances, because as we're now seeing, there's no real industry that is secure. And even now, look at administrations trying to cut some more jobs. So these jobs that were used to be super secure aren't so secure after all. Manufacturing now that we were trying to bring back are starting to be cut back. So yeah, as we're seeing that, hey, these jobs or cuts are coming in every industry, these people, some of these 10,000 people are willing to take your job. If you're in manufacturing, you're like, I don't want to go to work today, I don't want to do this, and you're in a small little town, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they'll never find somebody. Oh, one of these people, of these 10,000 that are going to get laid off, is going to say, you know what, if I can get a paycheck tomorrow again that pays for health insurance and everything else, you betcha, I'm renting, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna take it. So yeah, this is the reality of where we're in. And just because you're like, they'll never replace me, I'm doing this, don't fool yourself. You can always find a replacement. There's a replacement for me on YouTube somewhere, and there's a replacement for you in the workplace somewhere, and there's a replacement for my services out there. So whatever you do, don't ever think you're not replaceable. And so just provide enough value, then it is too costly to replace you, then it is not. And this is kind of how the business economics works, right? When it's too costly to replace you, they might not do it. But if they can replace you easily for less money, it's a smart business move to do it. And this isn't any emotions behind it. This is just business 101. And the same goes for offshoring. If they can offshore your account or offshore your department to a cheaper place, they might do it. Doesn't have to be like ethical. They just say, hey, it's a pure business move. If I can do it, they're going to do it, because they don't report to you, they report to shareholders. And shareholders want stock prices to go up. And it's not that the common American owns the stocks. No, it's that BlackRock and all these huge corporations own the stock, and they want to see money coming back. So let me know what you think. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. It's been kind of windy in Vegas today. But yeah, this was it from Lone Mountain Park. I'll see you again tomorrow in my next video. If you haven't, click that bell notification, leave me a comment. I'm sitting in my computer the first hour to answer comments so we can chat. So the earlier you comment, the most likely I'm gonna see it. And so make sure that you really hit that bell so you can watch when the video comes out, and I'll see you in the next one.